especially when it comes to financial advice or business advice. 99% of people are not entrepreneurs. They're not meant to be entrepreneurs. If you're not innovating and bringing fresh ideas to your clients, you're going to disappear.
That is gold, what you just said. And I should say it's not gold, it's diamond. Hi, Chad. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sonny. Happy to be here.
I truly appreciate you joining me today as my peer, my friend, and most importantly, amazing human being. And being in the peer group from a couple of years together, I had that opportunity to get to know you at a deeper level and also see what you do for other peers. And I have a lot of respect for you, the way you show up to serve, the way you are a true go-giver. So truly appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate that feedback. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So let's start with my most favorite question. As an entrepreneur, you have a lot of experience. What can we learn from you? What is the greatest entrepreneurial lesson that you have learned?
Oh, wow. That's a big question. You know, I've been advising entrepreneurs for 22 plus years, primarily in business mindset, investor mindset, and wealth management, but also in how to manage your life as an entrepreneur. I guess the one lesson I really believe is important is that entrepreneurs are wired differently. Whether you were an entrepreneur as a kid and that's always what you wanted to be, you were kind of different, you were into creating new things, new ideas and sales, or you're just great at technology or great at something and you just happened upon running your own business. You know, you're suddenly in charge and people are reporting to you and you're building a team. I would say the number one lesson is that entrepreneurs are wired differently, and therefore you need to get advice that is also wired differently. Like, I think one challenge entrepreneurs have is they're hearing a lot of the advice that applies to traditional executives and employees, and it doesn't connect. You know, there's like a language barrier, especially when it comes to financial advice or business advice. You know, 99% of people are not entrepreneurs. They're not meant to be entrepreneurs. And so traditional rules of thumb and advice really doesn't apply to that mindset of always thinking how to expand, how to grow, how to build, how to create. So really be thoughtful about the advice you get and the source of advice that you go to.
Yeah, that was well said. Beautiful.
Thank you.
I was just over breakfast talking to my wife, Cam, and she has this great program called Leadership License, where in our space, we are educating a lot of MSPs and their leadership management teams, different layers, on how to be great leaders. And we were just having that discussion this morning, Chad, is that entrepreneurs, when they wake up, they think different because they don't have any guaranteed pay coming to them.
Yes.
So they are burning their own money to lead versus an executive who is burning others' money to lead. It's just they have a totally different lens of leadership. So can you talk to me a little bit more about that? Maybe take an example or something where IT managed service providers, IT entrepreneurs can learn from, especially the leaders, where they're working for an entrepreneur. And now the leadership layer is probably thinking different. Entrepreneur is thinking the perspectives are normally misaligned. So something that can help them get better at that alignment of entrepreneur and the leadership that reports to entrepreneur.
So the best thing you can do if you're supporting an entrepreneur is free their mind up of the stress of the day-to-day operations and allow them to be a true visionary. An entrepreneur who is a visionary, who's creating a big vision of where we're headed, is going to lead a team to success. You have to have fresh energy, fresh ideas, new things happening. And you can't accomplish that if the visionary is bogged down in the minute day-to-day operations and the small issues and problems. If the visionary entrepreneur the founder is stuck being involved in every meeting and every decision for your business, that's going to be a productivity trap, and it's going to bring the vision and the energy down. Now, as a leader in an entrepreneurial firm, you kind of have to think like an entrepreneur. You have to be that flexible and adaptive. You need to think, what is the vision? and how can I execute the vision as a leader? How can I make things happen? How can I raise the level of impact of everyone on my team and continue to collaborate and delegate and elevate what you do by saying, who could do this better than me? What else can I take off the plate of my visionary entrepreneur? And so, yeah, Pacific Capital, our wealth management services firm, we serve entrepreneurial teams all over the world. And one thing that I know from us is that everyone here on my team needs to adopt a little bit of that risk-taking, kind of venturing out, adventurous attitude that I have. They can't be rigid. They cannot be acting like they work in a massive corporation. They have to think, what is the vision that Chad's bringing to Pacific Capital? How can we deliver that vision to our entrepreneurs and clients? And then what can we do for our clients that allows them to have that same freedom to explore and create? And so if you're not, you look at AI and technology and all these things that are changing the marketplace, if you're not innovating and bringing fresh ideas to your clients, you're going to disappear.
That is gold, what you just said. And I should say it's not gold, it's diamond.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that is so amazing. So if I'm listening to this, Chad, as a visionary, what can I do to be a better visionary? What can I do to be a better implementer or integrator or COO? What can they do to get out of their own way to make sure that they build a team where the risk taking, all the things that you have said, can be done? So what this person can do?
Yeah, number one, visionary needs to be willing to give up control. You cannot be a micromanager and be a good visionary at the same time. You have to give up to go up. You have to give up to grow.
Yeah.
So you can be in charge, but not in control.
Yeah.
And there are many things that I allow the team to make decisions on that I have no idea what is happening until after the fact, because I trust them. And there's a level of communication where they know the vision. So number two, create a vision big enough that everyone on your team sees themselves growing within your vision. You have to communicate the vision. If no one knows where they're going, if you're on a ship, and you're on a boat, let's say, and you're rowing on the boat and you got a bunch of people rowing together, if they don't know where they're going, they don't have a direction, you're just up in the front of the boat and you're the only one who knows where you're going, they're not going to row very hard. And they're not going to row with any kind of direction or purpose. But if you're very clear and you're like, that's the island, we're going this many degrees to the right, and that's where we're headed, and we want to get there by this time, and we have to row this fast. All right, everyone on the right side, go. Then people are rowing with purpose. People are moving in a direction because you've communicated the vision clearly. I'd say number three is get amazing people on your team and take a lot of time to get to know them before you hire them. Understand where they're going to thrive. Put people in the right positions where their natural abilities are going to shine. So don't put people in the wrong positions and then micromanage them or give them like a tight box of what they can accomplish. Say, hey, this is what I want you to do. Here's the vision. I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do everything. I want you to use your resources, be creative, collaborate within the team, and make some great things happen. So a visionary really needs to be great at communication, listening, casting a big enough vision, being willing to give up control and not be involved in every decision, and then stay focused on the big picture and where we're headed. And when there's times that are good, important feedback is needed, give feedback, give counsel, give direction, redirect, adjust your team to get back on track. And once again, inspire with the excitement of what that vision is going to look like and what it's going to mean for your team. I do this all the time. Like, we had a team meeting, we had a lunch meeting on Monday, and I said to the team, what is our 5-year vision? What's the company going to look like in 5 years? Give me details. And many people raised their hand and they knew exactly what it was because we're constantly talking about where we're headed. So they know where we're headed. It's very clear. And I think as a visionary, you've got to be able to deliver that consistently and then be the example of saying, here's my role, here's your role, let's go make it happen.
That is so awesome. So I think I love the question there as well. Kind of validate if what you're saying is what they are hearing, right? So because sometimes there is a disconnect of what you are saying versus what is being listened on the other side. Now, what can that COO, that integrator, can do to take some load off of this visionary
Right.
and do something. So what can they do? What kind of question they can ask themselves to
Yes.
be better support for the visionary?
Yeah. So the integrator, the COO, the CEO who's on the ground in the meetings every day, they need to know that, first of all, their visionary's communication style. Some visionaries like a lot of detail. Some visionaries just want the bottom line, the high level. So what is your visionary? How do they like to be communicated to? What do they want to know every day and every week? What's the KPIs of your business? How do they measure success? You need to be the buffer between the team, the operations, the customer service people, and the visionary.
Mm-hmm.
So don't let stuff go around you and cloud the mind and the focus of your visionary. You be the buffer. You stop the issues. You try to solve a lot of the issues on the ground before it gets to the visionary, because the visionary needs to have a freed up mind. I love the idea that if the host of the party is not having a fun time, nobody's having a fun time. And so the host of the party is the visionary, the founder.
Yeah.
If they're stressed out, if they're discouraged, if they're bogged down with a lot of issues and problems, nobody's having fun. The business is not growing. So as an integrator, COO, you've got to think, you got to hold people accountable. You have to have regular and consistent meetings with your team to make sure that they're on track. You need to ensure that the execution of the vision is happening on the ground. You need to report exactly the numbers and the stats and just the results of your team's work to your visionary, and find out how they like to be communicated with. I think those are keys right there. And constantly ask yourself, what else can I do to deliver the vision that our founder and our leader is laying out for our company? How do we get to our 5-year goals? If he or she lays out a 5-year goal, then you need to think, what are we going to do this quarter to make progress toward that 5-year goal?
Love that. Love that. What can I do to contribute more to that vision? And team around you will never have more fun than you are having.
That's right.
So your guest will never have more fun than the host.
That's exactly right.
Right. So that is so awesome. Now, Chad, one thing that is happening in our channel is that in the last about 10 years, a lot of money started coming to this PE, to all different type of capital started coming to the space. Where no one thought about EBITDA, no one thought about enterprise value, no one thought about how the runway work and everything else. And now everyone is like, oh, here's my runway. Here is where I am. Here is where I need to go. That's like one set of persona. The other set of persona is that, hey, what can I do to exit in the next 2 years, 3 years as a private company? And there's a lot of consolidation happening, a lot of wealth creation happening in our IT managed services channel that we play in this channel from 22 years now. So what is your advice for, so look at two personas. There's an entrepreneur who is at a stage where they want to just take either chips off of the table and they want to stay involved or reinvest. Or there are personas where they are buying, consolidating, having that arbitrage by buying growth and then exiting. So a lot of money is being generated, a lot of wealth is being generated. So what can you share with them that can help them be better investors to think or preparing their business so that they get the best value out of their exit?
Get advice from experts who have done this before, who are not in your industry. Surprisingly, we often find ourselves in a bubble where we're only talking to people who go to the same conferences, they read the same publications, same articles, they follow the same people, and we get in this just like this tunnel of, this is how my industry thinks. So we have a client in the healthcare space, assisted living, and the same thing is happening in their industry. So they bought growth, they expanded, they were bought out with a PE company. Now they've got some liquidity personally. He owns a little bit left in the company, and they've been buying assisted living centers all over the United States, and they're preparing for a multi-9-figure exit in the next 12 months. Another client in the HVAC world, so air conditioner units, heating units, things around the house. He was doing a decent business. They started out with him and his brother going door to door, repairing air conditioning units, turned into a $50 million liquidity event for him and his brother. Now they're still involved. They have a small ownership share. Same thing. They're buying and growing and things like that. So this is common. I'd say tips for people in that situation: get professional advice sooner rather than later from an independent fiduciary, someone who's not got, doesn't have their hands in the pie. And then think about your business. How could your business run with less involvement from you? So prepare so that the business is not dependent on you. If your business is dependent on you, you just have a high paying job. You don't really have a business. And I think a lot of people in the MSP world are probably in that situation in the early stages where every decision comes back to them. They're the ones with all the experience as a leader. And it's not really a business. It's not like set up to sell or to scale. So think about how to build your leadership team, document your processes, have SOPs set up, use a lot of technology. If you can, get some intellectual property validation to the processes you have, and really set up your business so that pretend you were out of the office for 6 months. Could it still run and be successful and grow? And I think if you can say yes to that, then really it is a viable business.
Yeah. Or go to Mount Everest for a month.
Yeah. There you go. That's right. Absolutely.
Then let people figure it out.
Yes.
When you're there without technology. Exactly. I'm going next week.
No way.
First.
How exciting.
Yes.
That is awesome.
Yes,
we're taking the family to Machu Picchu, Peru this weekend for the week.
Oh, nice.
So we'll be hiking on a different place as well. That's cool though.
Yeah, I was there 2 years ago with the family and friends, and the whole city where you start the hike is so beautiful. Cool. Take the train that normally goes there from the city to the base of the hike.
Yep.
And it's really, really nice. So we kind of booked. We were about 25 people. So we booked 2 cars, and we had a DJ and everything else in there.
That's cool. That's awesome.
That ride was so much fun. Chad, what is your if there is one thing that you can share with the entrepreneurs based on the whole policy changes and a lot of stuff that's going on with tariff war and everything else, if you're sensing something, seeing something that can help an entrepreneur to prepare their business to be successful in the new economy, the new climate that is being created. So what are you sensing, seeing that you would like to share?
So I think what you have to do as an entrepreneur with your finances and your business is be flexible and seek professional advice, because things are changing. Tax laws are changing. The markets are moving. Interest rates are going to change in the next couple of years. There's just a lot of things happening. And especially if you're serving clients that are not just in our country, but in other countries, you have to be aware of these things. My 5th book that came out last year is called Wealth Wired Differently. It's beautiful. 7 advantages entrepreneurs are missing out on when taking financial advice from non-entrepreneurs. And so I really think entrepreneurs need to stick together. You need to join groups. You need to be in peer groups and masterminds. You need to get financial advice from people who understand you, who think like you, who have that DNA of growth and expansion and risk-taking and creativity and building. You're a builder. If you're an entrepreneur, you're a builder. And a builder needs to have professionals around them that are doing the technical work of protecting you, protecting your money, and protecting your business. That's not something that you should be clouding your mind with if you're a visionary builder.
That is so awesome. Now, how can people find you, and also what resources, what capabilities you have built to help entrepreneurs, to be helpful, useful to entrepreneurs? So how can people find you, and what can you offer as a value to them?
For entrepreneurs, sure. So chadwillardson.com is my primary website. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm posting and engaging every single day. So you can find me on LinkedIn sharing. For entrepreneurs, I write books. I have a newsletter that's free. But the businesses, I have 2 businesses that serve entrepreneurs. One of them is called Platinum Elevated. That is a mastermind group with high accountability coaching, one-on-one and group coaching. It's a lot of fun. I love it. That's platinumelevated.com. My second business for entrepreneurs is Pacific Capital. That's wealth management services for entrepreneurs and their families who have at least $25 million to invest. So if you're having a liquidity event in the next 12 months, the earlier you can plan, tax-wise, prepare the business, make sure you get the highest multiple, understand what you're going to do afterwards, both with your time and your money and your business. So that's what we specialize in, is helping people through big sales and liquidity events. We've helped a client with a $800 million sale to a public company. We helped a client with a liquidity event. Their business is valued at $2.87 billion, and they're going to have a big transaction in the next couple of years. But a lot of them are $20 to $100 million sales, and we're very familiar with helping an entrepreneur really prepare for that and then keep as much as their money as they can when that sale happens.
And you also have a community. What's the name of the community that I see?
Yeah, so it's Platinum Elevated. Yeah, Platinum Elevated is the community. Yeah, platinumelevated.com. We call it Elevated, but we've got our next event in Newport Beach in just a couple weeks, actually, California.
Thank you so much, Chad, for coming to my show.
Thank you.
And one person who is, I'm so impressed with what you have built and how you show up as a human being, and the value system that you keep as a human being, just to show up and help and give back and create value for the community that you have built. And also, your coverage always. I love reading articles when they're published on all these national media outlets. And, so knowing you as a peer, I know that, the way you think, there's just so much we entrepreneurs can learn from you. So thank you so much for creating a lot of value for this world and being a great, great human being and a great friend. Thank you for your time today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Sonny. Thanks, my friend.
Thank you for watching Sonny's Silver Linings. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.